Alright everybody, what's going on? It's Thundershot, and we've got a brand new Dragon Ball Xenoverse interview coming at you today. That's right, I'm going to be showing Dragon Ball Xenoverse footage in the background for those of you who may be new around here. This was a beta that was out a while ago. It's closed now. You can't get in. Game comes out in February, though. Anyways, this is an interview conducted by Travex and the J Patrol crew. I'll leave a link to the interview down below if you want to check it out for yourself. It's about a half hour long. I'm just basically going to summarize it here and give you my thoughts, give you guys all the questions and answers, and then just my thoughts on them. But like I said, this is an interview conducted by J Patrol. And it is done with Tony, who is the community manager at Bandai Namco Games Europe. And what they did is they took a bunch of Twitter questions from anyone who was following them on Twitter, and they actually asked Tony here all these questions, and he answered what he could, he answered what he was allowed to, and he answered to the best of his knowledge, and there's a lot of questions that got spit out here. So yeah, here's a brief summary and my thoughts real quick. Let's just dive right into it. So, who will do the music in Xenoverse? To start off with, I don't know, a music question. They're not disclosing exactly who's going to be doing the music, but apparently Europe and Japan will have the same soundtrack. It's assumed that North America will have the same soundtrack, but like I said, this is a European interview, so if you're in North America, not everything is tailored specifically to us this time around, so that is something to keep in mind. Will there be higher graphic options for PC, or will there be a permanent... sorry, I can't talk today. Will there be higher graphic options for PC, and will there be permanent destruction on PC and current generation consoles? The answer to that is no, it is the exact same for all platforms. No, there is no permanent destruction. Now, here's what gets me. What is current gen anymore? This is an honest question that I'm having, and hopefully you guys can clear it up for me, because PS4, Xbox One have been out for well over, like, what are we, over a year? 2 years, something like that? Over a year now. And, yeah, it's good. I don't even know how long. Anyways, they've been out for long enough to be called current gen, but people are still referring to PS3 360 as current gen. So is PC getting a PS4 Xbox One port, which would make sense, or is PC getting a PS3 Xbox 360 port, which would kind of suck for PC users? I'm not sure, but anyways, hopefully PC gets the latter. Hopefully PC gets the better of the two, and hopefully it gets a port from next gen. That would be the one that would be the one that makes sense to me. But he did point out that this game was made specifically for consoles. PC was kind of a not necessarily last minute, but they had the consoles well in development, and they're like, okay, we can put this on PC too, and then they just started porting it over. So PC probably isn't going to be the best version out of anything you can play it on, but if PC is what you have, PC will definitely get you by. Anyways, will you be able to make multiple characters of each race, and can you change characters while doing the story mode? The answer to that is yes, but each character is bound to their own story. So you can make multiple characters, but once you do that, basically how we expected it. You make a character, you make a Saiyan male, whatever, you start a story mode, you get halfway into the story mode, 3/4 of the way through the story mode, beat the story mode, whatever, you decide you want to load a different character. Well, then all of a sudden you make a Majin character. I'm pretty sure you still have your Saiyan file saved, but then you also start a brand new of the same storyline with a Majin character. This also confirms that what am I trying to say? This also confirms that Majin characters, Frieza characters, humans, Saiyan, it doesn't matter what you are, everyone is going to get the exact same story mode, which kind of sucks, but it was pretty expected at this point, so I'm not too upset about it. But it doesn't matter what kind of character you make, everyone has the exact same story mode regardless. Also, I want to do a shout out to Mordak Jordan, because this interview was 30 minutes long, and I watched it once, and I was about to go get my notepad and come back to watch it again, so that way I could write down all the questions and answers and give my summaries. This dude went through and he hit every question and answer in the comment section, and I'm literally reading off his question and answers in the comment section. He's summarized it already, so I just get to read off. So thank you, Mordak, if you happen to be a subscriber or happen to see this video. Alright, what are we on now? Question number 4, how many transformations will each character get? So as of right now, and with the way he worded this, it was iffy, but we've known for a while Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2 were confirmed for the Saiyan race. They wouldn't confirm or deny Super Saiyan 3. The Tony here doing the interview straight up said Super Saiyan 3 will not, or Super Saiyan 3 is not an option. So they might, and the reason I say might, they might be confirming that, or unconfirming, whatever. They might be confirming that Super Saiyan 3 will not be a transformation possible in Xenoverse, and that would personally suck. If you're not going to make Super Saiyan 3 a transformation, there's not a whole lot of point in Super Saiyan 2 for me, really, because Super Saiyan 1 and 2 are pretty much going to look identical, except, I mean, the power spike is going to be nice, but I feel like it was either going to be we would just get Super Saiyan, which, whatever, or we would get all the way to Super Saiyan 3, because that makes sense, because like I said, there's not a lot of difference between 1 and 2. So it's mildly disappointing if Super Saiyan 3 isn't confirmed. And the reason I say if is because he is, I believe he's French, so his English isn't the best, And what he could have trying to, if you might have to watch the interview to get the idea for it, but what he could have been trying to say is that it's not confirmed yet. But he did flat out say no, it's not in there. But what he might have been trying to say is it's not confirmed yet. So I'm not gonna 100% rule it out. But before, I was like 90% sure we were gonna get Super Saiyan 3, and now I'm about 40 to 50% sure we're gonna get Super Saiyan 3. It's still up in the air for me, but its odds have definitely been lowered by the way that he said that. Well, we have other GT characters that are not confirmed. Maybe. They don't want to release that yet. My guess is that they're actually making as many GT characters as they can before the game comes out right now, so that way they'll have them on launch, but they have no idea how many they're going to get done. That's my guess. That's what I have in mind. That's why I think that they're not confirming or denying these GT characters, but that's just me. Anyways, moving on. I think I lost my place. Will players' levels and stats affect the stats of existing characters? And the answer is no. It's based on the level of difficulty of the mission. So, if your character, the game doesn't level up with you, I should say. Like, the missions get harder over time, but if you're like level 50 and you go back and play the first mission, you're going to curb stomp the first mission. People in the first mission aren't going to get stronger because you're level 50. You're just going to curb stomp them. You're going to have to go play higher level mission stuff, which is fine for me. There's a couple of games that actually got ruined because the game leveled up with them. Or not ruined, but games that were a lot worse that I played before because the game leveled up with you. And to me, that sometimes defeats the purpose of leveling up. Like, one, it keeps it challenging. That's the plus side. If the game levels up with you, it keeps it challenging. But to counter that, there's almost no point in leveling up because the more you level up, you get cooler shit, but the enemies get so much stronger. It's like, why do I even have this stuff? What's the point of upgrading my strength if the enemy's going to get a defense upgrade that matches that? So I am personally glad that the game doesn't level up with you and that I can go back and curb stomp mission 3 100,000 times if I want to. I don't know. I like it. But can capsule capes be equipped on main characters? And the answer is no, not in the story or the main mode. For your online character running around doing fun stuff, I guess. I'm not 100% sure what a capsule cape is. I need to do my research. I'm sorry, but I don't think this has a huge impact on anything that matters. So don't take this particular question to mean anything, really. Will Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta / Jocko the Galactic Patrolman be unlocked in the game? So I'm going to start with Jocko. Jocko will be in the US and EU version for sure, but they don't know how they're going to put him in the game. He's not a pre-order bonus like Vegeta is, but he probably won't make it into the game as it comes out. So they said they don't know if they're going to do a free DLC, but apparently they're trying their best to make sure that they can find a way to do it for everyone. And by the way he talked, they were leaning towards making him a free DLC shortly after the game came out. Now, Vegeta in particular is interesting because I've said since the beginning, they have Vegeta lined up as a day one edition. You have to get the day one edition. He will not be DLC later. This guy came out and he kind of gave me the answer that I've been waiting for, and he said Vegeta has no plans as of right now, and he was very specific when he said as of right now to be DLC. So they might, if you don't get the day one edition, which you should get the day one edition, Vegeta and the armor is going to be worth it along with the black case that you might get. Vegeta might be day one edition, but no, he is day one edition, and he might be DLC, but it's going to be in a distant future. So getting the day one edition is still 100% worth it. But if I'm looking at like 4 or 5, 6 months after the game comes out, they might drop him on as DLC for $2.99, like they did with Vegito and like they did with Super Saiyan Bardock in Battle of Z, which works for me. That makes me feel a little better than making him completely exclusive. You get him 4 months late, that sucks, but you know, get the day one edition. If not, you pick up the game later. Like, if you pick up the game in a year, it's going to suck if you can't play as Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, but whatever. Anyways, also shoutouts to Burkhole. Burkhole got a question answered, and I went back and looked through the interview, and I could not find what it was. But Burkhole, who I'm probably playing with in the footage right now, or in at least one of these battles, excuse me, got a question answered, and I remembered his name. So I remember, like, hey, that's Burkhole. Anyways, moving on. Will there be any characters from the Dragon Ball series? No. He said there might be references to Dragon Ball in the story mode. They might talk about like King Piccolo or stuff that happened in the past, but there will be no Dragon Ball characters. That's okay with me because I feel like a lot of people are like, well, if you're going to have Dragon Ball Z and GT characters, you got to have Dragon Ball characters. It just completes it. Budokai Tenkaichi 3 had Dragon Ball characters. To me, the way that this looked, this was going to be a strictly Z-only game. This was just going to be Dragon Ball Z. They weren't going to include GT at all. No plans for Dragon Ball. And then they heard the outcry like that we wanted GT characters, and I think they started like once they heard this, however many months back, or I mean, you know, however long back, they just started making GT characters as fast as they could. They're still making GT characters, and I think that's why we're not getting Dragon Ball characters. Dragon Ball and GT were not planned for this, But then they started. You can't look at it as we're getting denied Dragon Ball characters. You have to look at it as we're gaining GT characters, because I don't think that they were originally planned at all to be in this game. That's how I'm looking at it. We're not getting denied. They're not saying, no, you can't have Dragon Ball characters. It's like, oh, this is a Z game, but we're also giving you some GT characters. That's the way that I'm looking at it. Because, like I said, I don't think either or were planned at all when they first started this. When they first started making this. How many characters and stages will be in the game? The answer to the character question, of course, is wait for the game to come out. And he says at least 20 stages will be in the game. And 20 stages is pretty bitchin', so I hope there are 20 super kick-ass stages. Because I had fun with the beta, and they only gave us 2 stages there. So, alright. Can we create our own energy technique? And no, you can't make your own technique, which I hope to be a feature in Xenoverse 2, but I don't want to talk about that just yet. But you can't make your own energy wave, which was expected. I don't think that would have been like a way out of left field. Oh my god, that's the most amazing thing in the world. If they would have just been like, surprise, you can do that. But it doesn't kill the game for me that we can't. You do learn techniques by mentors, though. We knew that. Are there French voices for the game? So no, the only voices that are going to be in the game are Japanese and English, because the most widely. I mean, you know, obviously it's made in Japan, and English is the most widely accepted language over here. I mean, you know, for Europe and USA and stuff like that. And they're not going to make French voices, because if they did French, they would have to do Italian. If they did Italian, they would have to do, I mean, you know, all that shit. So moving on from there. Will the Majin race, will the Majin race be able to transform like Kid Buu? So here's the thing. In my head, we have Super Saiyan, we have Super Saiyan 2 that we can transform into. Again, Super Saiyan 3 is iffy if we'll be able to do that with Saiyans. My thing was, Frieza doesn't transform like a Super Saiyan or a Super Saiyan 2. Frieza transforms and then stays in that transformation until Frieza transforms up again. So to me, looking at Frieza characters, looking at Majin characters, because that's what the question's about, to me, if they were going to transform, they would have to evolve almost like Pokemon to me. Like if you're a fat Majin Buu character, right? And then you play until you're level 25. And then all of a sudden you can transform, or all your abilities go up a bunch, and then you transform into like a Super Buu looking character, and then you have to stay that. You can't go back to Fat Buu. And then you hit another level and you transform into like a tiny Kid Buu looking thing. That's to me how that was going to work. But the answer is no. Your appearance would, you will get power-ups, but your appearance will stay the same. Your aura will change. This goes for Frieza characters. This goes for Majin characters. This goes for, I'm assuming, Namekian characters. They will have transformations that I'm guessing have the same effect as going Super Saiyan 1 or 2, but there will be no physical change other than aura. Your abilities, I'm guessing, will go up, but no physical change. And to me, I'm just looking at this as a thing of, if they had more time, if we gave them like 2 or 3 more years to make this game, all this shit that we're dreaming about, they would put in the game. But they are on a time crunch. The game has to be out by February. This isn't something they can add. And it's stupid to speculate it. Really, really stupid of me to speculate it. But Xenoverse is going to come out. I think Xenoverse is going to be a fantastic game. I want them to take Xenoverse and what they have here and build on it, and make a Xenoverse 2, or at least a game that runs exactly off this engine and everything that they're using, or it looks exactly like Xenoverse does. And I want them to build from Xenoverse and make all these things. I want them to be able to make the Frieza transformations in the next game. I want them to be able to make the Majin transformations. I mean, you know, give us Super Saiyan 3, 4, let us go God. Everything that we have already been like semi-denied here. Beam struggles, perhaps. The ground being able to stay permanently gone when a blast happens. But it's stupid of me to speculate Xenoverse 2. Xenoverse isn't even out yet. Alright, moving on. Will it have beam struggles? No, we know that one. They cancel each other out. If they do clash, the strongest beam wins. If not, I mean, if they're the same, then they cancel each other out. There are only animated... The question is there a VAO anime for the game? And the answer is no. There's just anime cutscenes for the story mode of the game. So we're going to get some animation cutscenes. We're also going to get some in-game cutscenes, stuff like that, but there's no VAO for the game. Will the Frieza race have a transformation? I went over that already. Can you change the color of your character's aura? And the answer is he didn't want to give anything away, but at a certain very high level, you might get the chance to be able to change your aura to whatever you want, which should be pretty cool, and it gives you something to work for. Will characters like Kid Oob, or will characters like Oob, Majub, Oob, or Pan be in the game? And he says maybe. He says, like I said, I'm still sticking with my theory that they're just making as many GT characters as they can before the game comes out, and then as many as they can make before the game comes out, they'll give to us. These guys are definitely working hard to get their stuff done. Will there be team super attacks with cinematics? There's no team super attacks like a Bros Kamehameha Wave or anything like that, and we expected that because there's no cinematic cutscenes, nothing that stops the flow of game, especially in these team fights. So it makes sense that there's no team super attack. That was kind of expected. Can you play with more than 2 players in local? And the answer to that was no. no more than 2 players, because the way that their 1v1s work, they don't have to split screen. So they didn't want to make a split screen feature in this game. And in order to do that, you can't not have a split screen feature once you have 3, 4, 5, 6 people flying around. So no, I believe even 2-player mode or even local is still limited to 1v1 also. So you can't, from the way that the interview was done, I don't think you'll be able to have you and your buddy against 2 computers, or have you, your buddy, and a 3rd computer against 3 computers, or anything like that. I think the only way 2-player local is going to be an option is if you 1v1, which kind of sucks. I personally am a big fan of games that have more local players. I don't like the fact that if I want to play with 2 of my friends, well, I'll use Xenoverse for example, even though a shitload of games have done it. I don't like the fact that if I want to play with 2 of my friends, I have to have a PS4 in the game, and then both my friends have to go out and buy PS4s in the game just so we can play locally together, when we should have the technology to do it right in front of my face. But that's just me. Are there games in the main? Are there mini games in the main story mode? No. I think this is good. I don't know. I mean, you never know. Sometimes you're playing a game and then you get hit with that annoying mini game that sucks. For example, Budokai, when you're playing that stupid mission where you gotta hold Raditz in the middle to get hit by the special beam cannon, and I ripped skin off my palm because I was rotating the controller so much. Oh my god, F that mission. Yeah. Kind of glad that those aren't in there the more I think about it. Will there be what if, this is the last question, will there be what if characters such as Super Saiyan 4 Broly, and will we be able to play them? So no, what if characters are not planned, so we're not looking at Super Saiyan 3 Broly, we're not looking at Super Saiyan 4 Broly, we are looking at movie characters though, just not, I mean, you know, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta probably won't be there, but who gives a shit, we got Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, I guess. Also, characters like bosses in the main story mode will not be playable, he says, so we will not get the Great Apes, we will not get to play a Giant Metal Cooler, which kind of sucks. I was a little bit looking forward to that. I think that would be neat if one of us could be this giant tyrant doing our thing, and then the other one, and you know, but we'll learn a little bit of it. This again falls into that category of shit that I shouldn't be talking about, in that hopefully Xenoverse 2 or whatever builds off of this game, because this game is going to be amazing. We'll have things like that. That's what I'm hoping for. But that is the entire interview, guys. I want to thank all you guys for coming out today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Once again, the link to this interview so you can check it out for yourself is in the description down below. I said I summarized, but I still took about 2/3 of the length of the interview to summarize what was happening. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, maybe give your thoughts on what you think of a couple of these questions down below. I am Thundershot, and I am out, guys. Peace.